Sweet. Unmute, yes. Let's do it.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome inside the Estadio Independencia in Esteli, Nicaragua, where tonight the first leg of the 2020 Clausura Championship match gets underway as the Blue Lions of Managua take on the Train of the North from Real Estelí. I'm Ben Wilson, so happy to be joined by James Poovey in the booth tonight. Beautiful evening, just about 80 degrees and clear in the northern part of Nicaragua. As you can see, we're just about ready to get underway. It's the best two teams throughout this season in Liga Primera, the top division of Nicaraguan soccer, in Managua in the blue and yellow, and Esteli in the red and white. James, the first of two legs, so no champion decided tonight, but still this will obviously go a long way towards deciding our Clausura champion, and it's the fourth straight tournament final between these two teams, so some rapid bit of rivalry picking up between a couple of clubs who don't have a whole lot of history between each other, and that's because Managua FC is a pretty young club in their own right. But as we've seen over the past couple of years, these have been some really fun and tightly contested two-legged affairs.
Yeah, Ben, it's great to be with you here once again. Pleasure to be doing the finals games here with you. Two great teams going at it here tonight. You mentioned Managua, a young team overall, only in their 14th year of existence, just 10 years in the top flight soccer league there in Nicaragua. So, but they have formed a quick rivalry, and this should be a great game here tonight. One of the first of two legs coming to you in the finals here.
We're here in Esteli tonight, while the second leg in the nation's capital, Managua, at the Estadio Olimpico a week from tonight. So they'll have a full week off in between matches, which is, I'm sure, James, nice for the players. We'll get into the starting 11s in just a moment, but given the current coronavirus pandemic and the way the league has tried to play a ton of matches in a short amount of time to get the season in before a potential surge, I'm sure it will be nice for these players to have basically 6 full days off following the match tonight. And that's probably the way it should be for a final, where you want teams to be as healthy as they possibly can. But needless to say, a lot of soccer has been played between both of these teams over the last few weeks in the build-up to first this tournament and now the final.
Yeah, it's been a rapid pace of play here in the Clausura tournament, and it'll be really nice for these teams to have a few extra days off. We were doing a Wednesday-Saturday schedule there for a little bit, but now if they do have a full week until the next game, that'll give them a chance to rest up, obviously rehydrate, make sure they're eating right, getting plenty of rest, and be able to come back full strength for that next game.
So as we're just into the match, let's bring you the starting 11 for both sides, as it's Managua right now looking to press forward, but a throw coming for Esteli, the host. We'll start with the visitors. Los Leones Azules, the Blue Lions for Managua FC, under a third-year manager in Emilio Alberto. It's actually his third stint, and we'll get into that story a little bit later, for Managua FC, who are looking for their second ever championship. It will be their first ever Clausura championship, as they won the Apertura back in 2018, but with a 4-4-3, starting with Erly Mendez, the 31-year-old and native of Managua, in goal, with the back four of Wesner de Trinidad, along with Sandro Coutinho and Marel Alvarez in the center back spots, and also in that back four, Rigoberto Fuentes to round out the defense of Managua, while the midfield, led by Christiano Fernandez, the captain, 34-year-old Brazilian, enjoying a breakout season, 14 goals this year. A great 2019-20 campaign for the former member of Real Estelí. He's joined by Agenor Baez in the midfield and Jeremy Quaresma, with the three attackers in the front, made up of Nayum Peralta, who is from Esteli, playing in his hometown tonight. Former member of El Tren del Norte for nearly 5 years was Nayum Peralta. Pablo Gallego, the former Esteli man, starts up top alongside Cristian Quinto. And James, a team that has been lethal in attack this season. They score nearly 2 goals per game, scored 4 goals in the second leg on Wednesday to beat Walter Ferretti 4-2 on aggregate and clinch their spot in this championship round.
Well, you can't ask for much more than this, Ben, in a final. You got the best offensive team in Liga Primera with Real Estelí, and Managua the best offensive team in the league, and Real Estelí the best defensive team. So exactly what you want in a finals matchup. The best offense gets the best defense, and it should make for a great 2 final games here.
And these two have met twice in the regular season of the Clausura, with Managua winning in this building, 2-0 win early on in the Clausura back in February. Then it was a 1-1 draw back in Managua between Esteli and the Blue Lions. You get a look at Henry Garcia for Esteli. He is the only former Managua FC player, and he served this past fall the Apertura on loan from Esteli, his parent club with the Blue Lions of Managua, where he scored a couple goals in 21 games, but he starts tonight in a 3-4-1-2 formation for Holver Flores, the first-year technical director, just 22 years old for Esteli, who starts another 22-year-old Denver Fox in goal. It's the 4th straight match where Henry Maradiaga is suspended. So the final match, he'll serve of that suspension after he picked up a red card and argued with officials after a 0-0 draw against rival Dirian Hen about 2.5 weeks ago. So it's Fox in goal, with Manuel Rosas, Jason Casco, and Christian Gutierrez, arguably the most experienced back 3 in all of Nicaragua, with the 4 in the midfield, including the aforementioned Henry Garcia, Marlon Lopez, Richard Rodriguez, who is back from a 1-match red card suspension, and Jose Quijano on the right side. As we get a little pushing and shoving, and a foul called, no cards though coming out yet into our first 6 minutes. Harold Medina, a youth team member who's been called up to start the last couple matches, is in a attacking midfield role with Brandon Ayertas, back from yellow card suspension, and Jorge Betancourt, the 2 attackers for Real Estelí. It was a nervy second leg, James. They got the 1-0 win in the first leg at rival Dirian Hen last Saturday, and then had to sweat out a 0-0 draw on this pitch on Wednesday to advance 1-0 on aggregate. They were able to get through, and now here they are. 5th straight finals appearance for El Tren del Norte, for Real Estelí.
You have to think that Real Estelí might have a little bit of an advantage here in the final, getting to start on their home pitch, even though we obviously don't have fans in attendance as we normally would at any other time. But that's going to give them an advantage. They want to get out here and start early, try to get a goal, and try to mentally get up in this match early if they can. Coach Holver Flores has decided to hold out a couple of players for the youth team. They actually played a little bit earlier today. Edgar Castillo is one of them, 17-year-old Nicaraguan, and Woodman Talavera, also 17 years old. They've been held out of this contest to be on the under-20 team for Real Estelí.
And Esteli facing Managua's U20 team, so a lot of bragging rights on display both on the youth sides and the senior sides as well over the next week, as Henry Garcia sends in the free kick, but a good job by the keeper, veteran Erly Mendez, in his 4th season manning the net for Managua, who comes out and collects. And you mentioned Woodman Talavera, James. He actually scored from the penalty spot to open the scoring earlier this afternoon, but a fun back and forth match that was. Managua and Esteli, they drew 2-2. Esteli led 1-0 and 2-1, but Managua able to equalize on 2 different occasions. So we're hoping to see the same sort of fireworks tonight. I think the conventional wisdom, James, is if this is an open offensive affair, it probably favors Managua, and if this is more of the shutdown, nip and tuck defensive battle, you'd think Esteli has the upper hand. Is that how you see things playing out over these next couple legs?
Well, whenever you have evenly matched teams like that, that's typically what you'll get, Ben, is they'll come out. It'll take them a little bit to settle down. Both the teams playing good so far. No one's really asserted themselves here in this game yet, but the offensive prowess for Managua will definitely be on display here tonight, but we'll see if Real Estelí is able to hold them defensively and not allow too many goals in there that they can't recover from.
An illegal throw there from the touchline. touchline by Henry Garcia, going over the touchline. You don't see that call too often, but Esteli is able to get possession back once again. And a foul called right near the touchline on Christiano Fernandez, the captain, who did score in this venue earlier this season in a 2-0 win, scored the second goal in that win over Esteli. Looking to push forward, Brandon Ayertes finds teammate Richard Rodriguez, but that effort well high and wide of the bar. It'll be interesting to see, James, how Brandon Ayertes looks tonight, because he was red carded in the regular season matchup against Managua and has picked up, he's been no stranger, I should say, to the cards this year. 3 red cards and just suspended a match for yellow card accumulation. But that being said, he's been the best attacker for El Tren del Norte, with a couple of key members injured. Juan Barrera, again, out injured tonight for the 5th straight match. And so Ayertes, with his 10 goals across the Apertura and Clausura, I think maybe he could be the one to give Esteli that look at goal, a team that has been very good defensively, but they haven't had a whole lot of opportunities to score, at least across the 2 legs in the semifinal round against Dirian Hen.
Yeah, Brandon Ayertes comes in as one of the biggest weapons on the club for El Tren del Norte. Comes in his first year, transferred over from Juventus Football Club there in Nicaragua. So he came in and made an immediate impact for the ball club.
In that feeling out stage into our first 10 minutes, but it's Managua looking to start a counterattack of their own. A cross sent forward, possible look that just deflects wide of the bar. Wow, fleeing his way down the right flank was Naum Peralta. Just whizzed past a couple of Esteli defenders, and I don't think was maybe ready for that ball to come in. Not sure if that caught a shoulder or an arm, and they're going to say that was a deliberate handball. You know, it looked kind of odd in real time, James. I'm sure we'll get another look in a moment, but the former Esteli player will see yellow, our first card of the final round, and I'm assuming that that's for the deliberate handball, as he tried to kind of angle his body to send that ball towards goal.
Yeah, it almost looked too unbelievable to be real, Ben, that he would do that with his hand like that. But he'll keep playing on. And you mentioned he's a transfer from also a former Esteli player. 3 of the starters tonight for Managua are former Real Estelí players. So a lot of these guys know each other, familiar with each other, and obviously familiar with each other's ball clubs as well.
Gallego, Fernandez, and Peralta, and they're not too shabby as far as the goal-scoring acumen. They've combined for 38 goals between the 3 of them this season, and Gallego, 16 goals this year. He and teammate Carlos Felix, who is on the bench tonight, each with 16 goals. Those are the league leaders in all of Liga Primera throughout the combined Apertura and a Clausura season. So Peralta, who had just snapped a 9-game scoreless drought with a goal Wednesday, scored the game-winning goal to put Managua up 3-2 in their 4-2 win over Walter Ferretti. That was a derby of its own, the capital derby with Walter Ferretti, one of several clubs based in the Managua area, the capital of Nicaragua. I'm curious, James, how you think that might affect the proceedings, where you have both teams, Managua coming off the Walter Ferretti rivalry win, and Esteli defeating their biggest rivals in El Clásico Nacional from Dirian Hen. You wonder if there will be any letdown. Obviously, there's not much time to get things back on track after those second legs were Wednesday night, so I'm curious how that'll impact the proceedings, especially tonight, because our second leg, as we talked about, is a week from this Saturday. So presumably by then, things will be back in order and everybody will have fresh legs, but you would think that kind of grinded out philosophy will be on display tonight.
Yeah, I'm sure these guys from Managua and vice versa for Real Estelí did not have a whole lot of time to really sit around and think about the matchup. They had to get to practice, get to going, and get the game plus all and figure what they wanted to do with the games only being 3 days apart. But next week things will have a little bit more time to sink in mentally, and then that'll give them a little bit more time to rest physically and get ready for that second matchup.
And to that end, 4 changes for Esteli from that 0-0 draw that saw them through 1-0 on aggregate on Wednesday with Yon Mosquera. He is out tonight, yellow card accumulation, one-match suspension with Tafi Guarch, Fabrizio Tavano, and Francisco Paz heading back to the bench. So nearing the quarter-hour mark. No real clear-cut chances for either side. We've seen our official tonight, Oscar Davila, hand out yellow to Nayum Peralta, and that's been about the only action. And the first of two legs. Mention how Managua, they have one championship under their belt. That was 2018 Apertura when they defeated Esteli. Meanwhile, Real Estelí, second most titles in Nicaraguan soccer history, looking for their 14th all-time, the club that was formed back in 1960.
It seems that Managua is pushing the pace here a little bit more in the last couple of minutes. It seems that they're working a little bit more on the Esteli end of the pitch. So we'll see if they can get that going. No one's really had a clear shot, especially right in front of the net so far.
Might we see a opportunity coming now as a couple teenagers doing battle. Christian Quinto, who's been a right back, has pressed up the pitch though tonight, but back in defense takes down the youngster Harold Medina, just an 18-year-old, starts for the second straight match. And now against the three-man wall, you get a look at Henry Garcia, who spent the fall with Managua on loan, now back where he's scored twice in 8 injury-shortened matches for El Trendo Norte, but back to full health. Did make his return Wednesday night, getting the start.
Our official Oscar Davila tonight says we're ready for play.
Here comes Garcia, curls it back post, but the 5'10" frame of Erly Mendez is enough to bring that in. And all things considered, pretty easy in the end for the Managua native.
A 9-year difference between the goaltenders tonight, Ben. Erly Mendez, 31 years old, out of Managua, and Denver Fox from Bluefields, Nicaragua, 22.
Nice little toe poke forward. Thought Denver Fox might have to get involved making a save as Nayum Peralta hit the deck. Now Peralta's been in the mix on a couple of quick developing counterattack plays tonight, and while Peralta was given yellow earlier, here he draws a yellow from the captain, Jason Casco, the 30-year-old and native of Managua, one of 5 Managua natives on the Esteli roster. Could not keep Peralta, his former teammate, in front of him.
Casco in his 4th year with Real Estelí, transferred over from Walter Ferretti in 2016.
So moments after the free kick coming for Garcia of Esteli, it's likely Christiano Fernandez, who has enjoyed a renaissance season, who says, James, once you get into your mid-30s, you slow down. Cristiano Fernandez does not listen to that. He scored a career-high 14 goals this season and never scored more than 6 in a club season after spending the 2016 Clausura with Esteli. That was his introduction to Nicaraguan soccer after being somewhat of a journeyman, played for 5 different teams in the Brazilian state leagues in his home country. 35 goals.
He keeps getting better with age.
Exactly. In his 170th Liga Primera match tonight, and he lines up a free kick in a pretty fortuitous spot. First leg of our championship match. Fernandez, though, sends it right into the wall. That hit Jorge Betancourt, who goes down along with Jason Casco, and we'll see our referee Oscar Davila stop play. It looked like that caught Betancourt pretty cleanly on the free kick.
Yeah, he might have got it there. We'll get another look at it right here.
On that initial look, James, I don't know if you saw anything different from me, but it looked like that was just kneed out of play. Might have been a stray arm, if anything, from his teammate, Jason Casco. Might have caught him across the face, which is where he was clutching, but certainly not a ball with a lot of pace sent in, and I'm sure Cristiano Fernandez might like to have another crack at that free kick effort.
Yeah, maybe a stray elbow got in there on that one.
One free kick chance for both sides. And we remain without a score in our first leg. It should be pointed out to James, Managua, they were the overall season champions. They've been the best team in the Clausura. 13 wins, 3 draws, and just 2 losses. It saw them climb the table. They finished the Apertura 4th, but leapfrogged the 3 in front of them, Walter Ferretti, Durian and Esteli. 69 points to take the overall crown, and that means they've already qualified for the CONCACAF League next season. So has Esteli, by virtue of winning the 2019 Apertura in the fall. It's the 2 league champions that advance, and so even if Esteli wins both tournaments and wins this fixture, the second team is the team with the higher finish in the standings, and that obviously would be Managua. So you see what they've done. They've been very good all year. They've been good on the road as well. They've won 3 and drawn 2 with no losses in the last 5. As a corner comes for Esteli near the 20th minute. Again, first leg of our championship match.
Yeah, Managua, a young ball club overall, as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, but they have had a ton of success.
This one has to be spiked up and out of play by Marel Alvarez, the Honduran defender.
Fatigue could be a factor tonight, Ben. It's 89 degrees out, feels like 92 with the heat index, 62% humidity out there, so these guys might be sweating a little bit more than normal. We'll see if that plays into things maybe in the second half.
And one of several changes there are, you look at Alvarez, who came off the bench on Wednesday. He gets to start on the defensive line. And so Alvarez, who's been arguably the most physical player in Emilio Alberto's defense, he leads the team 18 yellow cards, James, over the combined Apertura and Clausura. So he has not gotten shortchanged when it comes to picking up cards, and he is in that back line tonight, although he came off the bench on Wednesday. Another collision just outside the box. And that's, I believe, Nayum Peralta on the turf again. He and Casco have...
Casco's not buying it, I'll tell you what.
Well, I was going to say, James, those two already know each other well as former teammates, and they're, I guess, getting reintroduced to one another tonight. Yeah, it looked like a heavy touch from Peralta. Casco had the positioning, and then Peralta came crashing into him.
Yeah, that looked like exactly what happened right there on that one, Ben. So you could see the frustration of Casco right away.
Look at Nayum Peralta. 8 goals this season for Los Leones Azules. But despite his success with Managua, and to that extent with Esteli, where he won 3 titles between 2014 and he left after this past fall, the 2019 Apertura, has not been called up to the national team. He featured heavily in the U20 and U17 national teams, did Peralta. But all he's concerned about, I'm sure, James, putting on a show for the many in his hometown watching tonight. But obviously, as you can see, no fans in the ground at the Estadio Independencia.
Yeah, it's got to be a special treat for him to be from Esteli and playing against them tonight for the opponent, Managua. So definitely a special game for him, for sure, tonight for Peralta.
Pablo Gallega, nice little touch to win a throw after Christiano Fernandez found himself in some open space. So you have Gallego, Fernandez, the 2 former Esteli men, along with Peralta in this lineup. And they've just gone over our halfway mark in the first 45. Aguilar Baez taking a spill, and Richard Rodriguez able to send it clear, looking for Brandon Iris, but again given away. Ball sent toward the box. Casco again on a yellow card. He's able to knife it clear, and then a foul called again on Nayum Peralta.
Intensity starting to pick up now, Ben.
I believe that's Henry Garcia who he takes down. And it is that you wonder, Garcia just trying to sell that, knowing Peralta has been on a yellow and been involved with a couple hard challenges already.
Yeah, he landed square on his back on that one there. Got upended pretty well there by Managua.
The 62nd meeting all time. I think it says a lot, James, about the rapid rise of Managua. Again, they've only been in the top flight of Nicaragua for 10 years. They first came up in 2010, but already they have met now 62 times with Real Estelí in that decade of history, and this is now their 6th meeting head-to-head in playoff matchups, where Esteli holds a 3-2 advantage, and like I said, this is the 4th straight final they've met.
It's kind of ironic how Real Estelí defeats Dirion Hen in the semis, the oldest team in professional Nicaraguan soccer, and now they're playing one of the youngest teams in the finals with Managua.
It's a good point. But you think about, too, just as in any country, really, the dynamics of soccer where you want teams in the capital to be strong, and especially because of the following that the teams in the most heavily populated areas will have. And so Managua, who has several teams, there's Walter Ferretti, Unan Managua, Juventus, and the Blue Lions, especially in a country where a lot of people have considered baseball to be the main sport for so long. It's been good to see, you'd think, James, from Liga Primera's point of view, to see a team like Managua in a heavily populated area really rise and display so many good players and a lot of good talent throughout these past few seasons. Just amazing to see them qualify for the semifinals in 7 of the first 8 tournaments once they came up to the top flight.
Well, yeah, it just speaks to the concentration of talent in Nicaragua as a whole, not only in Managua, but all over around the country as well.
As we play into the 26th minute, really no good opportunities for either side so far. And you mentioned, James, how there's been, as we know, for Esteli, with the most success of any club in the last couple decades, a lot of members of the Nicaraguan national team, a few members as well for Managua FC, as this ball is sliced out of play into the empty stands. But Managua, over the past couple of years, they've done a really good job of recruiting some of those good players outside of the country, as you're allowed to have the 4 foreign-born players on your team. And you look at Gallego from Spain, Fernandez from Brazil. That represents 30 goals out of the 69 the team has scored this season. So you know they're doing something right when it comes to scouting and figuring out the pieces to fit around the rest of the Nicaraguan team.
Yeah, that's a credit to these coaches, Over Flores and Emilio Alberto. Just quality individuals who can recognize talent, and they know when they see a player that can really benefit their club, they know how to get it done.
Marlon Lopez to take this free kick. He gets the start tonight, Managua native, after coming off the bench as a sub on Wednesday. They call him Chino. It's his nickname around the ground. Filling in for Yon Mascara tonight on that yellow card accumulation 1-match suspension. But Mascara and the veteran 30-year-old keeper Henry Maradiaga will be back for the second leg, as you get a look at Oliver Flores. It will be
Hard
quite
to
the
believe,
cap.
22 years old, Ben.
Yeah. I was going to say, it'd be quite the finish. And there's, on the other side, Emilio Alberto. What a conclusion to a first season it would be for Oliver Flores, who was thrown right into the fire, replaced his mentor Sergio Rodriguez at the start of the Apertura tournament, right after the regular season this past fall. He just calmly assumes that coaching position and wins that tournament, defeating Dirion Hen on away goals, and then a 2-1 win over this team, Managua. Both teams won 1-0 on their home turf, so they went to extra time, and Esteli won on a Ricardo Rivas goal in the 98th minute, 8 minutes into extra time. And so Flores trying to start out his career 2-for-2 winning tournaments would be some sort of accomplishment. As
well, he's doing a bang-up job so far. I mean, replacing Sergio Rodriguez, and let's face it, Rodriguez didn't exactly leave the cupboards bare there for Real Estelí, but for Oliver Flores to come in his first year and have such great success is just outstanding.
And you saw Alberto as well. You really have to go back to 2017 to see the rise of Managua, at least to this level, when Alberto came back to the squad for his 3rd stint. As our official says, play on, a good challenge on that back line by the left back in Wesner de Trinidad, a 5th-year player.
Whistle.
near the half-hour mark. Again, first leg of this Clausura Championship tonight as Betancourt gets on the end of this header, but in trying to knock it straight up towards himself, didn't quite get it right, and has knocked off the ball out for a goal kick for Managua.
I can't help but notice the music in the background, Ben. I'm wondering if they play that usually during matches down there, or if there were full fans in attendance, if you'd even be able to hear it anyway.
Yeah, from the sound of it, it would appear to be coming from outside the stadium, and
possibly.
It's again, since the coronavirus pandemic really began in March, Liga Primera, you have to give them a lot of credit for figuring out ways to keep these matches going. As an angled shot from Brandon Hierdes parried away. A good look from the edge of the box and clean contact from Hierdes, sending it out for a corner.
Yeah, that was a great shot right there from Brandon Hierdes. A lot of speed on that one. We'll get another look at it right here. He turns, faces, and fires at the goal, but a great job in goal there by Early Mendez to save that one for Managua.
Even though he conceded twice on Wednesday, James Mendez, he came up with a huge save from a point-blank position when the match was tied 2-2 and made that save. Shortly thereafter, it was Peralta who scored the game winner in the 70th minute. They got an insurance goal shortly after that to win 4-2. So Mendez had a big role. And here it's his defense. Gives a little fist bump to the back line as they're able to nod one out, and a second straight corner coming up for Esteli.
Another chance here for El Tren del Norte.
It's Medina from that far flag, but can't get it past Wesner to Trinidad, who sends it out. We'll see if Managua can come up with a counterattack. Pablo Gallego from Huesca in Spain, where he spent several years playing in the Spanish third division, Segunda B.
You know, we talk about the offensive weapons and the offensive prowess of Managua, but defensively, there are no slouches either.
We'll see the trainer be called as Emilio Alberto looks on. Try to get another look at who our injured player is, just past the half-hour mark. On a warm, clear night in Esteli, about 2.5 hours north of the nation's capital of Managua. There's Hierdes, who's probably come the close to goal of anybody tonight. Speaking with manager Holder Flores. And again,
Still can't see a number on that injured player there for Managua. Here comes the backboard.
Yeah, we'll find out momentarily. Again, as you were mentioning, James, with the lack of fans tonight, again, you do have to commend Liga Primera. They've put a lot of strict measures in place, and in fact, you see some of it's not fans who are scattered in the stadium, it's some of the personnel working in the stadium who are allowed to be sitting in some of those unoccupied seats, but they've actually...
One of the French benefits, Ben.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and they've even tightened up restrictions even more coming into the championship, where only the 18 players in the team, the 11 starters, the 7 subs, are even allowed in the venue. So not even the reserves are allowed to sit and watch. They're doing the same thing we are, James, and like so many others joining us tonight watching online. And so you have that additional requirement. The backstage area they use is only for the officials and the players. So I think that's partly why you see some of the in-venue staff sitting in the stands tonight, but they've made sure that everybody who enters gets their temperature taken before coming into the stadium. So I give a lot of credit to Liga Primera, one of the only leagues still playing and the only league that had a season in progress that is still going, as they're, again, about 2 weeks ahead of where they normally would be, but that's just a small consolation when you're trying to continue playing out a season. And would not have happened had Nicaragua had been fortunate with having so few cases of the coronavirus. But it just gives you a little background as we continue playing this first half.
Just an unprecedented time right now, Ben, with everything going on with coronavirus. It's not just something that's affecting one or two countries. It's affecting everyone all over the world. But again, as you mentioned, credit to Liga Primera for finding a way to still continue the season and be able to play out the championship and do it in pretty good fashion, I would say.
And we're certainly happy to have all of you watching at home along tonight. James Poovey, myself, Ben Wilson.
Yes, indeed. Thanks for everyone for tuning in. Let us know where you're tuning in from on YouTube there.
Yeah, of course.
We'd love to hear from you.
Should point out as well that this is, being that we are in the championship match, first leg, this is the final home match for Esteli at the Estadio Independencia, and so that strict enforcement of who can come in, that also applies to the mascot, James. So Kami, the second-year mascot for Esteli, fortunately not allowed to be in the venue tonight. He represents the 12th fan, which is the ultras of Esteli, who call themselves the Kamikazes.
Well, I thought we were going to have
collision
him on
into the
at
box
halftime, actually.
as Ayertis came crashing toward goal. It was the defender Rigoberto Fuentes and his keeper Mendez. Not sure who got the worst of that, but Mendez appears to be in some pain.
Yeah, he took a shot. I'm sure we're going to get another look at here in a moment. A couple of them exchanging pleasantries there in the box. Ooh, they just collided, Ben. It looks like a shoulder right up under the chin. Wow.
Yeah, with Ayertis pushing the defender Fuentes, he, I don't think, felt comfortable to hold up, but Mendez and his 30-year-old center back in Fuentes collide. We've already seen a couple players hit the deck hard.
Got to look at Taufik Quartz there on the sideline for Esteli.
You would imagine he'd be a factor tonight. Team's leading scorer in the Clausura, Taufik Quartz, while Carlos Felix, another Mexican on the Managua side, he could also be coming off the bench tonight as well. And he scored 16 goals across the Apertura and Clausura seasons, tied for the league lead.
Nothing really looked malicious on that play there, Ben. It's like both players or all those players really just hustling for the ball and just an accidental collision.
Yeah, just some friendly fire more
Hard
than
play.
anything.
Yeah.
As we play into the final 10 minutes of the half. Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off, James, on that ball and that quick collision, but yes, the ultras, the kamikazes as they call themselves. I was thinking maybe that could be some of the source of the music we're hearing outside the grounds tonight. Certainly a possibility.
I was thinking we're going to have him on for halftime, one of our halftime guests. Can we dial him up? Is it too late?
We'll see. Yeah, we'll stand by on that, James. We'll
get him on Zoom or something?
See, I'm not. I like to think of myself as a powerful person. I'm not sure I have that much influence.
Not
Get
quite
the
that
ultras,
much pull, huh?
Get the ultras in studio. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe for the second leg.
Hey, we can sure try, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, and we've seen the two best teams. Again, you look at the overall standings. Managua #1 and Esteli technically third, but again, that Apertura Championship pits them as the best team of the fall season. So really the best two teams in the league this season. And I know you and I, James, were both enjoying this, getting to see two great teams go at it tonight. And I just wonder if we get an opening goal in this first leg, how quickly that'll change the calculus for both teams trying to be aggressive and push forward. I've gotten the sense it's been a little cautious going forward for both teams starting out in attack tonight.
Yeah, you could tell that both teams are maybe kind of playing on eggshells a little bit. Don't want to make a mistake. Don't want to give up that first goal, and don't want to be obviously you don't want to be the player that gives up that first goal or has anything to do with giving up that first goal. But both teams will settle down here in a little bit. But I've always been a fan of a defensive football, and as much as I like scoring, I like it when it's a tight game and every possession is critical and crucial, and it just makes it that much more exciting.
See a foul called as Esteli tried to start the counter and they bring it back. So saying that there wasn't enough of an advantage to let play continue for Managua, and you'll see Aguilar Baez, the Somoto native, 22-year-old, who scored in the first half on Wednesday, had a really nice free kick, took a slight deflection in front of goal and went in. That gave the Blue Lions a 2-1 lead at the time. But after that Esteli foul, it is Baez to take this long free kick. The Trinidad can't come up with it. Little push anyway, and an offside position for the Trinidad. That allows Denver Fox to pick it up.
Denver Fox was just absolutely huge in the semifinals for Esteli. Huge.
There were a couple. I mentioned earlier, James, I think the word I said was nervy. I think that's a nice way to put it, because Darian Hen, who needed a goal to tie the match on aggregate in this venue Wednesday night, they had a couple of fantastic opportunities, and Denver Fox had to come up big. So did his back line, for that matter, a couple times.
Yes.
In the final 15, 20 minutes of that contest.
Nice job holding that one in right there for Garcia.
Yeah, Garcia, who is probably the quickest player on the pitch for Esteli, back to full health after missing a couple games with a contusion he picked up in the El Clásico Nacional in the regular season, which was just about 2.5 weeks ago from tonight. But he returned Wednesday night, second leg of that meeting. But Esteli a little bit short-handed still with the attacking position. Edgar Castillo, who is the only player who has scored in the Clausura against Managua, was used, as you were mentioning earlier, James, called back down to the youth team for their big finals matchup on the U20 tournament, also against Managua, that U20 team. So Castillo not eligible as a result to play tonight, and Juan Barrera still out with a nagging injury, who actually celebrated his 31st birthday today. Barrera, one of the most decorated players in all of Nicaragua. I'm sure he would love to be out there tonight, but still unfit to go. They're hoping to get him back for that second leg, which is a week from tonight. Same time next Saturday in the nation's capital at Estadio Olímpico in Managua.
Happy birthday to Juan Barrera for sure. 31, as you mentioned today. Outstanding.
So a couple of those players who could provide some offensive spark means for Esteli, they'll need someone to step up. It was Oscar Acevedo, who had not scored all season, who scored the only goal of the semifinal tie. And it's come off the bench.
Came to my head when you mentioned shorthanded a moment ago was that first leg semifinal goal there from Oscar Acevedo. What a play that was.
Oh, and a moment for Esteli in the build-up through this tournament. Not only were they figuratively shorthanded, but literally they were down to 10 men when Acevedo cracked home about a 25-yarder from outside the box in the 74th minute, and that would end up holding as the lone goal across the two legs. So you contrast that with Managua, who after a 0-0 draw in the first leg on the road last Saturday, they were back home Wednesday, and they had their key cogs really step up in that match. Baez scoring, Gallego, Peralta. Those three who've been three of the top goal scorers all season, along with Christiano Fernandez and Carlos Felix. Those players really stepped up to get things going. It was Christian Quito who scored just his second goal of the season to open the scoring in the 3rd minute, and that got Managua off and running, a 4-2 second leg win to top Walter Ferretti in the second straight tournament, where they knocked off Ferretti in the semifinals.
Who is going to break it open first? That is the question.
Aguilar Baez on the ball right now, lining up this free kick. Mentioned earlier how Nayum Peralta snapped a 9-game goalless drought with his 70th minute game-winning goal Wednesday. Baez was his first goal in 10 matches. Decent free kick here. The Trinidad got a slight touch, but easy for the lengthy Denver Fox to come out and collect. And you asked that question, James. I think it's the one we're all wondering, but who have you thought has been the better side through the first, as we're just about into our final couple minutes of this first half, who has been the better side in your opinion?
Well, it seems that it's swung, the momentum has swung back and forth a couple times in the first half. It started out with Esteli a little bit, and then Managua seemed to bring it on there about 15-20 minutes in, and then it's been pretty much evened up through the rest of this first half. So I really can't tell so far, Ben. It's kind of gone back and forth in my opinion.
You see there, Jeremy Quaresma. We get another look at this challenge on Henry Garcia. And that puts Quaresma into Oscar Davila's book in the 44th minute. So 2 cards in the first half going on Managua, in Nayun Peralta, and now Jeremy Quaresma. The card on Esteli was given to Jason Casco earlier in the half. And to your point, James, I will say it seemed like Esteli, as far as possession in the middle of the pitch, they've had a little more control, a little more ability to control the ball, but at the same time, Managua has appeared to be the more threatening team on the counterattack. It's the old adage, sometimes possession isn't everything.
It seems like every time Managua gets something going, that defense just tightens up for Esteli and shuts it down in a hurry. Just like that right there.
There's the solo minute of stoppage time at the end of this first half. The best opportunity was a Brandon Ayerta strike right at the edge of the box. Forced a good parried save from Erly Mendez. The only save either keepers had to make tonight. And we'll see one last look at a free kick as the nifty youngster Harold Medina earns his team another free kick.
If something happens and we go scoreless here tonight, Ben, that next game next Saturday is going to be something else for all the marbles.
You'd think Esteli, I mean, obviously you want to score in your home match in a 2-legged tie, but especially against Managua, who have been lethal, especially in their home venue this season. As this free kick amounts to very little, and our official Oscar Davila blows the whistle for the first 45 in the books. Both teams with just 3 days rest. It appeared that way at times in the first 45. One good look from Brandon Ayerta that was saved well by Erly Mendez of Managua. But that was really the only action we saw in our first half, as we've played the first of 4 halves we'll see over this 2-legged tie. 45 minutes of the books from the Estadio Independencia. It is in the first leg of the 2020 Clausura Tournament Final. Managua 0 and Real Estelí 0. We will take a break. James and I will come back, have your second 45 in a few minutes. Thanks so much for staying with us. We'll see you on the other side again. 0-0 at the break from Nicaragua.
Yo lo sé, como le digo, yo conozco, yo como le repito, yo conozco la pero a veces, te digo, esto se lo cuento, lo que le cuento, pues, me ha tocado más, no me han partido antes, no me han tocado por la... Todos buscan a la liga. No me refiero a usted, o sea, yo por eso me coordiné con usted, o sea, me cambio la explicación, o sea, sí, eso en ese sentido, a ese sentido me refiero, por eso sí el partido, si miran a la gente de la liga que creen que todo el partido, en ese sentido, como ella también está ahí, ya usted ya está dentro de usted. Entonces, sí, porque como ya la vi que usted está dentro. No, yo sí. No, por eso yo ya estaba adentro. Entonces me quedo así a la par suya, un poquito retiradito. Sí, pero cuando sí. Déjame que se traba, me sentí raro.
Oye, aquí es, ve.
Me sentí un poco raro.
Aquí. Sin más, te lo trae. Chapel. Dale, tío, dale. Perro, en el portón no me aman. Llegué, puta, me creciendo en la liga. Ah, dale, pues pásenme. No la vi. Yo soy leído. Ya quedamos. Se quitó una. Dos entrevistas flash. Ya y ya. Ah, no tienen nada lo malo. Pues la liga no puso nada, güey. ¿Qué? Le digo que no le van a dar raya nada. Sí, ah, ok, sí, me dijo. dale, pero que escuche cuando el mae me da traslado. Y sin que yo aparezca, solamente la manito. Ya después, después que ya yo la... No, yo que no aparezca con el cámara, ¿sabes?
Ahora sí me comprende.
Welcome back, everybody. Getting set for our second 45 minutes of play from the Estadio Independencia. Neither team able to find the back of the net in the first half, as it's Managua and Real Estelí. It is the first leg of two in this Liga Primera Clausura Tournament Championship round. Back alongside James Poovey, Ben Wilson. Thank you so much for joining us wherever you are in the world tonight. We know we've had viewers from just about every part of the globe, and we're happy to bring you not only soccer, James, but real live championship soccer. This is the finals of this 2020 season in Nicaragua, and two of the best teams in the league doing battle. Neither real good scoring chances, though. We had one solid attempted goal from Brandon Ayertes of Esteli in the first half. James, besides that, though, been a pretty even battle. Both teams clearly just trying to dig in, not make any crucial mistakes in this first leg.
Yeah, they've kind of been both in a little bit of a prevent defense, if you will. They've been so far in the first half, just kind of trying not to give up that first goal. And but we've got the best offense against the best defense, so we should be in for a great second half here coming up.
And as we start the second half, our first sub of the night sees Oscar Acevedo enter the match in the left back spot, replacing Manuel Rosas. Should be pointed out, Oscar Acevedo he was the hero in the semifinals for Esteli. Scored the first leg as a second-half sub in the 74th minute as El Tren del Norte beat rival Dirian and 1-0 on aggregate in the semifinals. Meanwhile, Managua off a 4-2 win over Walter Ferretti in the other semi-final round. These are the 1 and 2 seeds from the Clausura doing battle, and we'll see, James, what sort of impact the youngster, the 23-year-old Oscar Acevedo, has in the second half.
Well, you've got to think, Ben, that as he was trotting on the field there a moment ago, that he had to be thinking about that goal back in the semifinal round that he put in the net right there in front of the goals. So he could be a difference maker once again for the ball club tonight. We'll see.
First attempt is from Marlon Lopez, guys that well over the bar. One other change to tell you about on the Managua side, as Jeremy Quaresma, who was yellow carded toward the end of that first half, he comes out, replaced by Ulises Pozo, who has been a big part of Emilio Alberto's starting 11 for most of the season. Started on Wednesday, and it checks in now. So Pozo into the match for Quaresma. You have Nayum Peralta on the pitch for Managua with a yellow card, and Jason Casco, who saw yellow in the first half as well. Of course, to get you caught up, if you're just joining us watching Liga Primera for the first time tonight, we've referenced the Clausura. That is the second part of the season. They break their seasons up into 2 parts, where the Apertura represents the fall, and there's an Apertura tournament at the end of the fall season, which Real Estelí won this past November, and then the Clausura representing the spring, and this our Clausura tournament. Chance to get into the edge of the box, ball sent across goal, looking for the first goal, and it's Denver Fox who comes up big, not once but twice, able to stymie Wesner de Trinidad, who had a couple glorious opportunities on the edge of the 6-yard box.
Yeah, let's take a look at it here. We're going to get a little look one time. Oh, Denver Fox sliding down, making the save, and keeping his head in the game, his eyes on the ball, never lost track of it, able to make another save right away. An excellent effort there for Denver Fox and goal for Real Estelí. What a job.
He wears number 22, the 22-year-old, but Managua's still not done. Again, it's de Trinidad, the left back, pushing forward. Such an aggressive attack from Managua, who lead Liga Primera, scored nearly 2 goals per game this season. And another corner. So you have the 22-year-old Fox, who's stood tall in goal. This is his 4th match in a row, replacing the suspended Henry Maradiaga. But a good early start for Managua. Another chance in the box. This one has to be cleared off the line after it was flicked on from a corner position. And now a push-off called going against Managua, and we'll see Esteli look to start a counter. But James, you have to like what you've seen from the Blue Lions coming out of the gates in the second half. 2 of the best chances we've seen all night.
Yeah, a great flurry of activity to open our second half here, Ben, in this first leg of the finals in the Clausura 2020. Great job there by Managua getting things going right in front of the net right away, but the Denver Fox just unfazed there in goal. 2 consecutive saves back-to-back right there. An excellent effort for the 22-year-old from Bluefields, and that was just outstanding right there. This is going to be a great second half coming up here for you.
Well, the first 45 was more of a feeling out process. I think we're starting to see some real soccer being played coming out in the first few stanzas of our second 45, and you should expect that. 2 of the best teams in the league this season. These will be the 2 teams that represent Nicaragua in the CONCACAF League next season. The only thing to be determined still is which team will advance automatically to the round of 16 and which team will have to go through 1 qualifying round to get there. And if you're unfamiliar, the CONCACAF League, that is how you can potentially qualify for the CONCACAF Champions League. Obviously the most prestigious club tournament in the Americas, at least in CONCACAF. So that will be something to look forward to for both teams next season. For now, though, it's a trophy thereafter between tonight and next Saturday. Little flick on, that is Ayeres, who tried to send it toward the face of goal with Jose Quijano closely tracking it, but instead a good job in defense. Managua able to avoid disaster, and we're starting to see things open up a little bit more. Ayeres, who had a lone chance in the first half for El Tren del Norte, nearly got on the end of that one.
I can't help but think that Coach Emilio Alberto for the head coach for Managua, must have told his team, or at least reminded his team that, hey guys, we do not want to go home down 1-0. We want to go home up 1-0 for that final match next Saturday night. So they came out and they've been playing like it so far here in the second half.
And Managua, that second leg, they drew on the road in the first leg, and we're going to get another look at this header attempt from Ayertes. Looked like Sandro Coutinho, center back for Managua, he did just enough. He got a slight touch to that to deflect the ball wide of the goal. They made that somewhat easy to clear, but when you look at Managua, drew 0-0 in the first leg of their semifinal round last Saturday. James, there were 4 goals scored in the first 25 minutes of the second leg on Wednesday. It was 2-2, basically halfway through the first 45. So they've been involved in matches where the goals start flying in a hurry, and you just never know what can set that off, especially in a final where you could see 1 goal open the scoring and a whole flurry to follow right after.
Yeah, this Managua team can catch fire in a hurry, and I remember the other night we were checking on that game between them and Walter Ferretti, and we were scoreless in our game, and then all of a sudden they're putting 4 in the net over there for Managua, so they can score at will when they get hot.
And we'll see too how the coaches, given there's only been 3 days of rest, and basically only 3 days of rest in between matches throughout the last month since the coronavirus pandemic became so prevalent worldwide, and Nicaragua fortunate to only be a level 1 COVID country, meaning they haven't had nearly as many cases as a lot of other countries globally. So they've been allowed to play behind closed doors, but have still had to play a lot of matches in a short period of time. Esteli making 4 changes from Wednesday as this cross loops for the 6-yard box, finds Richard Rodriguez, who missed the second leg on a red card suspension, but he's back in the starting lineup tonight.
And for those of you who weren't able to be with us during the semifinals, Nicaragua, along with Belarus, the only other country in the world right now allowing live sports for soccer.
Big call coming here, and it looks like it goes against Esteli. Richard Rodriguez sees yellow. Esteli players pleading their case with our official Oscar Davila, and we'll get another look in a moment. He chasing after that ball. Erly Mendez, the official determines, got there first. Let's see who's right. Looked like Mendez just got his boot to the ball first, but it seemed like enough contact to necessarily warrant a yellow. I don't think it would have been right to give a penalty, obviously, but a bit harsh on the card for Richard Rodriguez.
That might have been a tough call right there for Oscar Davila. That could have gone either way.
This one last touch though by Brandon Ayertes, and it will be a goal kick for Managua. Probably as many scoring opportunities in the first 8 minutes of our second half as we saw in all of the first 45. Managua were the top seed, so they have the home field advantage, and they play the second leg a week from tonight back home at the Estadio Olimpico in the nation's capital of Managua. So this is the final match tonight inside the Estadio Independencia for the 2019-20 season for Real Estelí. Look for their 14th title, second only to the record holders Dirian Hen, who they knocked out their arch rivals in the semifinal round. Managua looks for just its second ever title in a club that has only existed since 2006.
That's impressive right there, Ben.
A rapid rise for Emilio Alberto and the Blue Lions, and here now the collision. Looks like we'll avoid seeing any cards. Henry Garcia, the former Blue Lion, spent last fall on loan with Managua, goes down at the hands of Christian Quinto. Again, no card sent out. And it's a free kick for Managua. Esteli, they're a team known for having the most players on the Nicaraguan national team of any squad in Liga Primera, but Managua FC, they've done a good job. They've started to bring in some very talented foreign players as well, led by the Spaniard, Pablo Gallego, and the Mexican native, Carlos Felix, who their 16 goals each led all of Liga Primera this season, with Christiano Fernandez and his 14 goals, the Brazilian right behind.
You mentioned also 4 foreign-born players per team allowed, correct?
Yeah, and I was going to add as well that 4th player, Sandro Coutinho, who we saw a moment ago, he helped prevent Brandon Aertes and his header from heading towards the target. Sandro Coutinho, a player from Cuba, who's the first ever Cuban national to play in Liga Primera, and so the Cuban media has kept a close eye on this tournament run for Coutinho, transferred out of the Cuban First Division in time for this spring Clausura season, and right into the starting lineup. So the first championship he'll be playing for in Liga Primera over this next 7-day span. Garcia goes down in the middle of the pitch.
Getting a little chippy out there now, a little more pushing and shoving.
And Garcia, he just seems to attract that attention, though. He is so quick on the ball. Really hard to slow him down. And sometimes it doesn't always result in goals for Garcia, but it can set them up. Meanwhile, Richard Rodriguez, who just saw a yellow a moment ago, takes it away and earns a throw for Real Estelí.
And Rodriguez just back in the lineup tonight for El Tren del Norte.
Yeah, so the 4 changes from Wednesday for Esteli, 3 for Managua. But one of those 3 left on the bench who had started, Ulises Pozo, finds himself into the match starting this second 45 as the first sub. Interestingly, Kevin Serapio, the longest tenured player for the Blue Lions, he's not even in the team tonight, starting 32 matches this season, and is a member of the Nicaraguan national team. So you just wondered, another one of those cases, possibly, James, with all the matches played in a short period of time. Might be an injury issue there. Something Holver Flores, in his own right, the 22-year-old first-year manager of the Train of the North, has had to deal with probably his most notable star, Juan Barrera, out for the 5th straight match.
Yeah, a lot of things for a 22-year-old to deal with, but Holver Flores doing a great job in his first season with the club, and he's got these guys ready to play.
Quijano's cross blocked right away. Jason Casco, the captain, on a yellow. With Rodriguez able to win the ball back. He is certainly an aggressive player. Richard Rodriguez looks to find Medina, able to get space in the box. Medina, shot blocked. Might have taken that first time, James. He did have some space, but tried to gather, and Managua was able to close it down.
Yeah, I was thinking for a moment there he's going to fire away with that right foot, Ben, but he just thought about it a bit too long. That defender slid across just in time, and he had to go with plan B there real quick.
Would have been his first ever senior goal in his 21st appearance tonight. Instead, we stay without a goal, deadlocked 0-0. First leg of 2. And this is the 4th straight meeting in the finals between these 2 teams. And we'll get another look again. Should Medina have taken this first time? Kind of a tough ball the way it was rising, James.
Yeah, it seemed like it had just bounced, Ben. It was kind of on its way back up, and he couldn't quite be able to swing through, so he had to kind of stop it and maybe gather himself again there.
And this turf, it is of a newer variety. It's the first pitch in all of the Liga Primera teams in their respective stadiums to get the sort of revolutionary field turf that has become common in the game in a lot of other places. And they're really proud of that fact. The staff at Esteli, as they should be, great ground they have at the Estadio Independencia. But there it was just that extra slight hop that you might not see on natural grass that forced that second touch for Medina.
Get a little peek up the tunnel there, looks like, for Real Estelí right there in that shot.
We crossed the hour mark. We saw that 5-minute flurry right out of the gates in the second half where Managua looked really threatening. Since then, though, Esteli have looked to have stabilized as this shot sent well wide from the edge of the box, and they've controlled possession really over the last 10 minutes.
Real Estelí just so great on the defensive end that they're able to adjust on the fly, and that's exactly what they did to kind of quell that little fire there at the beginning of the second half from Managua.
It's always interesting to see, James, as we know there's more than one way to win a match. And Managua, they've won their matches this season with pure firepower. 69 goals scored. They've conceded 40 on aggregate, but it hasn't mattered at times, whereas Esteli, they've only scored 56 combined this season, but allowing just 25 goals, by far the best in Liga Primera. As we'll see Agenor Baez head into the book. Third card given out tonight for the visitors from our head official, Oscar Davila.
Garcia on the deck now for Real Estelí. He went down pretty hard here. We'll get another look at it right here. It wasn't that bad after all.
So off the free kick, tracking back is Coutinho to head that play. Does concede a corner for El Tren del Norte. Look as well at Marel Alvarez. As Medina gets ready to send it in. Low cross, that's just knifed away. And then Ayertis gets it all wrong, trying to go for goal.
Didn't quite get enough bend on that one there.
Brandon Ayertis, he's had a flair for the dramatic in big moments, though, in the past. Scored the game-winning goal in the Apertura semifinals last fall against rival Dirian Hen. And has scored 4 times in the Clausura this spring. I was mentioning earlier how this is that 4th straight final that has featured both Managua and Esteli. Had to go to extra time in the second leg last fall. It was the 2-1 Esteli win over Managua, but last year, a pair of draws. Esteli won on away goals 3-3. And then in the Apertura before that, it was also extra time. So 2 of the last 3, James, have gone beyond the 180 minutes to decide a champion, with Managua winning their first ever title back in that 2018 Apertura championship.
And the two teams know each other so well, and they played so many close matches together that they know how to grind it out and keep it close, and then somebody's gonna get one in the net here very shortly, I have a feeling.
Yeah, so those 2 matches into extra time, the draw on away goals leads us to believe this will be a similar path. Right now, Managua, you would think from their end, they can get out of here with a draw, even a goalless draw without getting an away goal. They'd probably like their chances going back home for next Saturday's second leg, as Fernandez comes in to snuff out that chance, although Ayertis takes it right back. Let's see what Esteli can set up. Ayertis with his cross, nobody home, but Rodriguez follows it up. Richard Rodriguez, low ball, that's chipped back toward the face of goal. Long strike, and it finds the back of the net. What a hit from distance. As it's Marlon Lopez who somehow delivers, and Esteli strikes first in the championship.
What a fantastic job there for Lopez. He kept it right in the middle, kept it right where he needed to, waited for just the right time to strike, and put it in the net. An excellent goal. We'll get another look at it here momentarily. What a great job there for Esteli, and they strike first. Little victory lap of sorts right there. Headed back out there for Managua, and he just got it on the rebound and struck right in the left corner. That one had a lot of speed on it, Ben.
Wow, what a strike. Just his second goal this season. A guy who has not been in the team very much over the past few weeks, but starts tonight in place of Yoel Mascara, who is suspended due to yellow card accumulation, and Lopez, who's from Managua, playing against, I can't really say his boyhood club because the Blue Lions, they just were formed about 15 years ago, but still, for him to come up with that kind of strike, all it takes, as we've seen in the past, James, is one of those perfect lashes at the ball, and Lopez comes up with it. Second goal of the season in his 27th appearance in the 65th minute, and it's 1-0.
Location, 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 Ben. He was in the right place at the right time. He got that rebound. He had his head just in the right place, and he took the shot, and the goalkeeper couldn't do anything about it. Mendez gave it an effort, but there was just too much on that one from Lopez. An outstanding shot.
If there's one thing Esteli has done a great job of throughout this Clausura postseason, it's been finding the unexpected sources of offense. Oscar Acevedo had not scored all year. He had the lone goal in the semifinal round, and now it's Marlon Lopez. Hadn't been a big factor in the team, at least in a couple weeks build up to the tournament, but here he is scoring the goal, and now it's Harold Medina on the counter. Stumbles, though, right on the edge of the box and has it taken away by Christiano Fernandez.
I was waiting for you to channel your inner Andres Cantor on that last goal there, Ben.
Oh, this ball nearly finds a man on the right side. Well, the goals we've seen, James, to that point from Esteli have come so unexpectedly and out of nowhere. There hasn't been a whole lot of buildup. You look at the Acevedo goal, and honestly, not all that different from the Lopez goal when you look at where they were on the pitch and the kind of strike that was delivered.
Yeah, it was really right about the same spot. And I can't help but think that if you're Esteli now, you've got just kind of a weight lifted off your shoulders. You got a goal in there on your home turf. And if it holds true, you go now on the road in the next leg, and you're up 1-0.
If you can get a second, you're in an even greater spot. It is Ayerdes getting into the box, but a good job by Mendez to come out, denying the 20-year-old from Jinotepe, a small town just south of Managua.
An action-packed second half here, Ben.
We didn't see much of anything in the first 45, but the 64th minute goal as it will go down for Marlon Lopez. Now it's Medina. He's shown some good life. Stumbles again, though, just slightly losing his footing on the edge of the box. And can Managua find a second win? They've been behind the ball most of the second half after that early 5-minute spurt where they had probably the best chance of the match prior to the Lopez goal.
Yeah, ever since that flurry from Managua, they haven't seemed to be able to get much going offensively.
Quinto, the cross. Fox gets a piece to it on the edge, and the second header is followed up. That goes into the goal. Appeals from Esteli, but it looks like Managua have found an equalizer, and we'll see if it stands. It looks like it will. Pablo Gallego, the former Esteli man.
Wow. Just as I say, they're having trouble offensively, Ben. He puts one in the back of the net. 2 goals in less than 3.5 minutes.
The cross from Christian Quinto, poked up in the air by Denver Fox, but Pablo Gallego just stuck with it. Fox appealing for offside, but it looked like Christian Gutierrez, the right back, was essentially James playing on side Gallego.
Yeah, he looked to be in good position right there. It was a great job. Denver Fox just unable to clear it out enough to avoid a second chance. But right there for the second chance for Managua was Gallego, and he took advantage of it.
Pablo Gallego, he scored in the first leg of the Apertura finals last fall against Esteli. He scored in the first leg of the Clausura finals against Esteli in 2020. His league-leading 17th goal of the season, leveling us up at 1-1. And Managua now has an away goal as well, as they'll bring in Luis Gutierrez, second sub of the evening, as it is Gutierrez into the match, replacing Nayum Peralta, who had a yellow card.
We've been talking about this offense and how it can explode, and here we go, Ben.
Now when you look at Esteli, didn't concede in either two legs of the semifinal. It allowed just a single goal. You look at it, James, basically over the last 300 minutes, they allowed one goal late in their final regular season match at Jalapa when they were already up 2-0. And so a extremely long span, but finally broken in the 69th minute by Pablo Gallego. Now scoring his 25th career Liga Primera goal, and most of those have come with the Blue Lions of Managua.
Josue Quijano not too happy with that last call there from Oscar Davila.
This has kind of followed, though, James, what we thought might happen. There have been signs of this early into the second half. We've seen this game open up considerably over the last now 10 minutes. It's just amazing, though. It's the beauty, really, of these two-legged ties where you go from Esteli seeming to be in complete control with their goal, just knowing how good they are defensively, and all of a sudden now it's Managua in control with that away goal advantage, where if things hold 1-1, the Blue Lions would feel fantastic about their chances heading back to the capital next weekend.
Yeah, Esteli really didn't even have a chance for that goal to sink in there, really, Ben, before Managua was striking right back.
Still a lot of time left, though. 18 minutes and change. Esteli, they certainly know what the current scoreline means. They'll be looking to push for a second goal. With still two subs remaining, Managua has used two of their three. Another look, and I think there's also the appeal. Was there a handball by Nayum Peralta as Denver Fox looked to punch?
It looks like he did get it from what I can tell. What do you think?
It's so close. And again, no VAR, no replay to use in Liga Primera. As would have been such a tough call to make unless you could have seen it definitively in real time if you were the ref, Oscar Davila. I don't blame him for not making the call. Denver Fox certainly thought, my initial thought was it was offside, but after seeing the replay, clearly thought that contact was made by the hand of Peralta. And not only would that have been a call, James, that would have prevented the goal, but Peralta already on a yellow. If they call that a deliberate handball, he's likely to be sent off for a second yellow. So a massive interpretation there, but one I don't think the referees got wrong. It seemed too close to call in real time.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one. Definitely too close in real time, and I wasn't even sure of the vantage point that our referee Oscar Davila had from that shot or from that play. But yeah, a good no call there, you would say.
But Peralta, he comes out of the match, certainly involved in some controversy though for Peralta. When we reflect on what ends up happening in this first leg, the native of Esteli playing for his former club, involved in a couple yellow cards, a couple challenges right on the edge of the box, and they're partially responsible as he, at the very least, made that punch for Denver Fox really difficult, allowed Pablo Gallego to follow it up on the second effort.
Yeah, he got in the way of Denver Fox there and didn't allow him to punch that ball out of there as much as he wanted to, whether it would be out of bounds up into the crowd or at least away from the goal box, not allowing a second chance there from Managua.
So just about a quarter hour left, and then extra time between Esteli and Managua. Regardless of what you think, it'll go down as a somewhat controversial goal for Pablo Gallego to level it up, but as you see Gallego there, number 9 in the blue shirt of the Blue Lions. All that matters, though, is it counts on the scoreboard, and with the current scoreline as it is, Managua will have the leg up heading home for the second round of the tie. Medina looking for Ayers, a little bit too strong. Chipped out to Richard Rodriguez. So given that, Esteli, can they find a second goal? And they'll get a free kick with Josue Quijano.
And they might be able to make something happen here. 14, a little bit over 14 minutes remaining in regulation.
Somewhat cheap foul given up, and now Richard Rodriguez can wait for his teammates to surge forward against a 3-man wall.
Early Mendez in good position back there in goal.
Here comes Richard Rodriguez. Pretty good ball in, but it's the tall defender Wesner to Trinidad who is able to knock it up in the air first.
You know, Managua knows how to play some defense as well.
As evidenced by their fantastic record on the road, where they have won the last 3 and drawn 2 in their previous 5 matches away from the Estadio Olimpico. So even despite the goal scoring acumen they have, you still have to know how to lock it down. As they try to release Gallego, but Christian Gutierrez up to the challenge. Looked like we could see Luis Acuna James down on the touchline getting loose for Esteli. That's the next thing we'll all be looking at. 1 sub left for Managua, 2 left for Esteli in the final few minutes.
Yeah, Esteli's going to have to pull out a few stops here. They want to try to get one more goal in the net. And they want to go back to Managua and try to have an advantage in that next leg next Saturday night. They're going to take some shots here.
Medina, he's been really bright, the 18-year-old, but in the final third, his touches let him down at times, and here it's taken away. Luis Gutierrez, the substitute into the match, replacing in that left forward position, Ayun Peralta. He's on the ball here, Gutierrez. Chance for Baez to keep it alive. Ulises Pozo, another sub. He takes a crack and just whips it over the bar. That was always rising from Pozo, but a good effort nonetheless. And now we will see the final sub of the night for Managua as Eric Mendoza enters for Christian Quinto. So a couple of subs in the attacking part of the pitch for Managua. Sees Mendoza on for his 32nd appearance of the season. And on the other side, Luis Acuna in for the hosts of Real Estelí.
Acuna, 31 years old, from Moreno, Argentina. His first year with Real Estelí, transferred on New Year's Day 2020.
And they'll ask the 31-year-old to step right in an attacking midfield role. And Medina, he was really solid tonight. Just seemed like he was running out of gas a little bit, James. Asked to do a lot in that position.
Yeah, they had him all over the field, definitely making him earn it tonight on the pitch.
Acuna, he has scored 4 goals in his now 17th match since joining the club in January. So what impact can he potentially have? 1 sub left, by the way, for Esteli and Holver Flores, the first-year coach. All the cards now on the table for Emilio Alberto and Managua. They've used their 3 substitutes.
It's ride or die now, Ben.
Well, and as the road team in a two-legged affair where the first tiebreaker is on away goals, to have that first away goal crucial. And Managua's done just that tonight, 1-1. After Marlon Lopez opened up the scoring with a blistering first-time attempt from about 25 yards out in the 64th minute. Early Mendez had no chance, but just 5 minutes later, Pablo Gallego, the ex-member of El Trendo Norte, found the equalizer. Now it's Ayertis trying to press forward. Does earn a corner, though, for his side as we cross the 80th minute.
Don't forget about the contributions from Denver Fox and goal on that double save there, if you will. That was crucial as well for Real Estelí.
It easily could have been the opener for Managua earlier in the second half. As Ayertis looks ready to tee up this corner. Good ball looking far post, but Gutierrez has it defended well. Headed out by Pozo, and that's another corner coming for Esteli. Look at Henry Garcia. He's the man to come off, and it is the man who I think a lot of people, James, have called the super sub this season for Esteli, at least in the Clausura. Taufik Guarch comes off the bench. Now in
Guarch
the
could be the difference maker.
82nd minute, team high 5 goals in the Clausura. The veteran from Guadalajara spent a lot of time in that second division of Mexico, James, and now he's into the match. Corner from Acuna, header opportunity just over the bar, and wasting no time. You see the frustration from Holver Flores. He saw Richard Rodriguez get up and clear some space. You can see, though, I was going to say, James, wasting no time, the presence of Taufik Guarch. The Managua defense a little bit see if those fresh legs of Guarch with just about 10 minutes to go can pay off, but he sets into that midfield role, replacing Henry Garcia. But in a tie like this, it's that third goal that can really flip things.
Oh yes, we still got a little bit left here, Ben.
We do.
Don't go anywhere, folks.
First leg of the Clausura Championship in 2020. Think about what these teams have had to deal with playing behind closed doors for now over a month. 2 games in a week. It's these two now who are the final ones, hoping to reap the rewards of this long journey.
Looking forward to a little bit of rest. You know, regardless of how this one ends, it's going to be another week before they play again next Saturday night, as we mentioned, back in Managua, and so they're going to really be able to take advantage of those 6 days off. And I bet they're really looking forward to a little bit of downtime. But they won't have a lot of downtime. They're going to have to get ready for that second leg.
Foul on Guarch, by the way. You get a look at Wesner de Trinidad for Managua. We've mentioned it throughout the broadcast tonight, James, even though the Blue Lions, they're a young team as far as club history, but they have shown no fear coming into this building, taking on Esteli, the Train of the North, who've had so much success.
You want to be the best, you got to beat the best, Ben.
Great job by Ayertis.
Managua wants to do.
Ayertis took it away. His initial cross attempt was blocked, came right back to him, and now the follow-up opportunity well over the bar. With the exception, James, I mean, we saw the great goal from Marlon Lopez, but that last sequence for Airtis, it kind of sums up how the attacking players have fared tonight for Esteli. They've been bright, they've been able to create some chances, but in that final third, it's been a lot of frustration, whether crosses or shots blocked. They're just not taking the greatest of first touches. It's kind of characterized at least the first 85 minutes for that Esteli attacking side.
Yeah, the frustration's been mounting for Esteli. They know that they're a really good offensive team as well as a defensive team, and the frustration for Home Flores as well. We've cut to him a number of times during the ballgame tonight, and he's pacing that sideline pretty good.
As we go into the final 5 minutes, Quijano lashes it towards goal. But that's a goal kick. Of course, you should point out, even with the 1-1 scoreline, it's advantage Managua having the away goal going back home. But Esteli will certainly feel confident in their ability to come out and win a 90-minute match. They've been so successful at that over the years. So certainly would not be the death of Esteli tonight should this remain a draw. It would just mean they'd need a goal in the second leg.
Yeah, it would just change up the game plan a little bit and give them a little bit something different to work with, but definitely not down and out if they don't come away with this anything other than this tie here tonight.
Looks like a yellow given to, I believe, Christiano Fernandez. Yes, he does go with the book. Just stepped on the cleat of Jorge Betancourt right in the midfield. So Fernandez
from Brazil.
Fernandez, yes, into the book. Somewhat of a journeyman in the Brazilian state leagues, but has found a home in Nicaragua, where he has flourished since joining Esteli in the 2016 Clausura. 35 career goals in Liga Primera, 14 of them coming this season. Nice ball sent here. Goarch with a shot on goal, but that's saved and hauled in by Mendez.
I thought Guarch might have put a little bit more mustard on that one there, but it looked like he didn't quite get a full swing on that one.
Taufik Guarch, he's been used to filling that role, though, needing a quick strike off the bench. And you're right, James, he had a good amount of space to work with. He's occupied that role, you have to say, brilliantly since his transfer from Atlante after the Apertura season from the Mexican second division. This ball sent low on the turf, looking for Fernandez, but blocked out, and now Rodriguez starts to lead a counterattack. And it does result in a throw for Acuna and Esteli.
2 minutes.
A match that has felt really, James, like two matches. The first 45 was a snoozer. If you missed it, didn't miss much. Basically one chance. It was a half chance from Brandon Airtis of Esteli. But we have seen plenty of entertainment over this second half. Both our goals coming in a
2 halves, Ben.
5-minute span. 64th minute, Marlon Lopez, but somewhat controversial goal that I'm sure will be talked about all week. Pablo Gallego's header off of a cross that was a potential handball from Nayum Peralta.
They'll be talking about it on SportsCenter tonight if I have anything to do with it, I'll tell you what.
That's a goal that could potentially, well, it probably already has, shifted just the nature of this two-legged tie. Of course, give a lot of credit to Gallego because that was a really difficult finish, such a tight angle from where he had to head that ball back across the face of goal, and he slotted it perfectly.
Well, it was just the second effort there that he just stayed with it, didn't give up on the play, and saw it through and had the perfect opportunity and was just able to get it right off his head into the net.
But for Managua, it will be a good first step. They're looking for some revenge. Again, fourth straight final between these two teams in Liga Primera, but Esteli has won each of the last two in extra time last fall, and then on away goals last spring in the 2019 Clausura. And a free kick as we get ready to cross into the first of our 3 minutes of added time.
3 more.
Beautiful night in the northern hills of Nicaragua, Esteli, from the Estadio Independencia. It is the goal scorer, Gallego, looking to take the free kick. Sends this one short, though. Quijano will sky it straight up. Back to Gallego, but a nice job in defense. And ends up touching Gallego last. So a brilliant job in defense, all things considered, by Luis Acuna.
Yeah, Gallego wasn't buying it, but the official confirmed it, and now it'll be Esteli ball.
So still a long way to go in the tie towards determining a champion. Second leg a week from tonight. Same time, 7 p.m. locally in Nicaragua, which is mountain time in the U.S. At least my takeaway, James, is that it's still anybody's championship to win. Managua will, you'd think, be the slight favorite, though, coming back home, but both teams will feel confident that it's theirs for the taking, and that's exactly what you want in a championship like this.
Sure, it's wide open, anyone's game, and this championship is still yet to be decided. Obviously, Managua is going to have an advantage, not only on paper but mentally as well, going back home into onto their field and going in with that away goal advantage that they, as long as they're able to keep that over the next couple of minutes.
You see the goal scorer there, Marlon Lopez for Esteli, working hard to win his team a free kick. It's Managua trying to delay a little bit. We go into the final minute of stoppage time. There's one more twist to be had in the first leg.
Might be one of the last attempts here.
It was Lopez's brilliance to open the scoring in the 64th minute. And just the wit, more than anything, of Gallego coming up with a crafty header from an extremely tight angle in the 69th. Now it's Luis Acuna.
Just that big swing of momentum there, too, with those goals only 5 minutes apart.
We'll see if we get one more swing. Acuna going top corner, and it hits the post. What an effort from Luis Acuna, inches away from a perfect strike that had early Mendez completely fooled and without a chance.
That could have turned the tide of the tournament right there. A great swing through off just the top corner of the post, but a great shot there, and it was nearly on target, but just missing.
And that ends up being the final kick of the ball as our first 90 in this two-legged championship tie comes to an end. A slow first 45, but a lot of action after halftime as Marlon Lopez found the net for Esteli in the 64th minute on a super strike. It was Pablo Gallego's header in the 69th for the equalizer that gives Managua the away goal heading back to the Estadio Olimpico next Saturday night. James, a lot of good end-to-end stuff, especially in the latter 45 minutes. You had to be impressed with the way both teams battled, given all the factors we've talked about. Short turnaround and still anybody's contest going into next Saturday.
Yeah, both teams definitely came out, Ben, with a different mindset in the second half. Came out a little bit stale, maybe a little flat at the beginning of the game tonight. They were trying to feel each other out. Didn't want to give up that goal that would put them in a hole early. But they came out second half, all guns blazing, especially Managua.
Muchas gracias, Roberto. Tenemos declaraciones de Jason Casco tras finalizar.
They kept going after that, and it was back and forth the entire second half. A great second half of soccer here tonight, and I can't wait for that next one next weekend.
You see the captain, Jason Casco, speaking with the media post-match. He and his teammates, they'll have a week to rest, just like Managua, and figure out the plan of attack for next Saturday. We look forward to bringing you that match as well, as the Liga Primera season will come to an end a week from tonight. For now, though, we're halfway home to determining our 2020 Clausura champion. after the first leg complete from the Estadio Independencia. It is Managua 1 and Real Estelí 1. For James Movie, I'm Ben Wilson saying so long. Hope to have you along with us again next weekend for the second leg of this affair. Until then, we'll see you. It's again 1-1 our final, Managua and Esteli.